Double Cross, and Other Skills I Learned as a Super Spy by Jackson Pierce. Chapter 13. I unpurpled a little bit later and left the League with my pockets jammed full of jelly bens. I thought about explaining the plan to Clatterbook and Oleander, but I ended up keeping my mouth shut since, for me, I figured Ben probably wasn't supposed to be playing around with expired chemicals. And second, if the whole plan failed miserably, I didn't want them losing even more hope in my double agent abilities. "Don't worry, Hale," Clatterbook told me as we drove back towards SRS. I was in the back seat of a beat-up Chevy, hunched down under a blanket, just in case someone from SRS happened to glance into the car. "Oleander and I will figure something out. I just got to get back into the agent mindset, you know? Make my mind all steely again." He thumbed his temple as he said that. "I'll tell you, Hale, I was one of the elite back in the day. Where should I drop you?" "The dry cleaning place, if you don't mind. Have to get Agent Otter's jackets. Do you have $5? I spent the money they gave me for dry cleaning on train fare." "I'm sure I've got something. The train isn't going to work forever, though. What if you need to come and see us and there's not a train leaving anytime soon?" "True," I said. "Plus, that sort of regularity is risky. We need to mix it up. Maybe you could drive a different car and come and get me next time." Clatterbook's face lit up. I couldn't exactly figure out why. Yes, I can do that, you know. I was just about to start doing international field work, but then, well, I sort of had to take Beatrix and Ben, which meant retiring. I frowned. "Why'd you take them in? Where are their parents?" Clatterbook sort of shifted in his seat. "They were field agents, too. Beatrix and Ben were only 3. They didn't remember much, fortunately." I lay very still, though my stomach was flipping over and over in my gut. I wanted to know how, when, why, but all the questions in my head sounded prying. I was grateful when Clatterbook finally eased the car to a stop and turned around to face me. I pulled the blanket off my head but stayed down low. Clatterbook smiled, shaking off at least the most obvious bits of sadness over Ben and Beatrix's parents. "Right, here you go. $4.67 is all the cash I have on me. But I do have this for you," he said, and extended his closed fist with a grin. He stuck his hand right under my nose and then opened his palm dramatically, revealing a thick gold bangle with a large ruby in the center. "You got me a bracelet?" "It's a communication unit," Clatterbook said brightly. "It is?" I didn't mean to sound doubtful. It was just the thing was massive, and compared to the comms we used at SRS, plus it was all sparkly. "Oh, come on. Just hide it under your sleeve," Clatterbook said, reaching forward and slipping the bracelet, I meant comm unit, over my wrist. I sighed. At least if Walter and his friends saw it, they'd be too busy laughing to realize I was double-crossing SRS. Clatterbook continued. "That's just the microphone. It doesn't have great range, but we can pick up conversations within a few feet. The earpiece, well, you don't have to wear it all the time. Just put it on when you want to talk with us." He reached into his vest pocket and removed a heavy-looking ruby earring, the clip-on kind, the sort that was too fancy and overdone to possibly be a real jewel. "You have got to be kidding me." "Now, come on, Hale. This is the only comm unit we have that'll work from underground. Actually, it's the only one we have that still works, period. All the others had dead batteries, and I couldn't figure out how to change them out. Only one earring is an earpiece, but there's a second. Hang on. It's down deep in my pocket. There it is. Anyway, there's a second, so they look like a set of earrings. You'd look stupid just wearing one earring, after all." "And I definitely wouldn't want to look stupid," I muttered, plucking the earrings from his fingers. "I've got a set too, only mine are emeralds. I promise you, Hale, I'll be wearing them all the time just in case you need us. All the time. Even in the shower, I said, grimacing. I didn't like to think of talking to Clatterbook in the shower. I liked the idea much less when I realized he'd not only be in the shower, but wearing ladies' jewelry. Well, no, they aren't waterproof. I know. I won't shower until I hear from you. He nodded at me sincerely. Thanks, I said, and weirdly enough, I was grateful. It wasn't every day I saw someone so dedicated to talking with me. I jumped out of the car and cut around the back of the building. It took only a few minutes to grab Otter's dry cleaning and slide back into SRS headquarters. You missed it, Kennedy said when I walked into our apartment. Her volume told me that Ms. Emma wasn't around, which was a relief. She was still pretty mad at me over the lack of present palooza a few weeks back. Missed what? I asked. We did a field exam today, Kennedy said, hopping from one foot to the other, and my teacher says I can maybe test for junior agent later this month. My mouth dropped. All I could see were our parents' names besides the status in the weeds. How could Kennedy still be excited about being an agent for SRS? Because she didn't know. I didn't feel good about it, but I lied to Kennedy. After I got back from the HITS lab, I told her I couldn't find anything. I told myself this was because I was worried she couldn't keep a secret, but really it was because I just couldn't handle telling my sister that our home, our school, and our world wanted our parents killed. It was just too much. She was only 9 after all. Congratulations, I said. I walked to the couch and flopped down next to her. I'm sure you'll pass. You'll be a great junior agent. This was true. I was sure she would pass, and I was sure she would make a great junior agent, which terrified me. Timing is everything to a spy. 1 second too early, you get spotted. 1 second too late, you miss a brush pass. I didn't just need the right second, though. I needed the right day. The trouble was, agents, especially junior agents, didn't typically get a lot of lead time on missions. My parents were usually notified the day of for a domestic mission. For an international mission, if they were lucky, they might get 24 hours notice. It made sense for Fishburne to keep information close, he often said. The more moving parts, the more things there were to break. Too many people involved with mission details, and there was too big a chance of something accidentally getting leaked or discovered or hacked and wrecking the entire thing. So, I had to wait. No double cuts, and if it blows, you start over, Otter barked at us on Friday, like we'd offended him just by showing up for class. We were defusing mock bombs, and I was pleased to see Walter was failing miserably. His bomb blew up 3 times before I'd even begun, largely because he wasn't taking the time to work out how it was wired. He was just hacking and hoping for the best. Luckily for him, these weren't actual explosives. They were just computer programs that flashed the word boom at you and played a cheesy exploding sound if you messed up. The fake bomb in front of me had a half-dozen wires strung between the cylinders of metal. The wires were a mess, tangled and knotted together, and the ends were stripped of their colors, so you couldn't always tell which color wire really was connected to what. A timer had been fixed to it, which was new to us, and it made the whole diffusing thing a whole lot harder. Walter blew up again. I inched my fingers into the bomb, reaching for the pink wire that was lodged down by the bottom. That controlled the bulk of the device, so surely it was a good place to start. I reached in and clipped it. Nothing happened. I grinned and turned to look at the timer, and I blew up. "Whoops," said Michael, one of the foreheads. "Butterfingers hail." Walter snorted in response, and the two of them did some sort of handshake that involved both chest and fist bumping. "Butterfingers? Nope," I muttered, clipping a different wire. I paused. I didn't blow up. My computer screen turned bright green. I pushed my chair back and folded my arms. "Don't look so happy with yourself," Walter told me. "Come next Friday, you'll still be here making latte runs while I'm in the field on an actual mission." "What? Like the interviewing kids at a chess championship?" I muttered under my breath. Walter's first junior agent mission had been a few months back, and it hadn't exactly been a riveting page-turner. Walter glowered, but didn't say anything else. Instead, he cut another wire and his screen turned green. It was only a moment later that most of the class's screens did. Cameron, the other forehead, was last. I thought it was pretty ridiculous that no one got mocked for coming in last place here. Otter walked to the main computer and typed in a few things. Our bombs reset with different parameters this time, and we began again. I beat my classmates every time, but I hardly noticed. My mind was on the mission, my mission for the League. But moreover, whatever mission Walter planned on going on next Friday. Walter wouldn't be going, but if everything went perfect, I would be.